The South African Clothing and Textile Workers Union, SACTU, a key affiliate of COSATU, is raising alarm bells over what they describe as the unchecked proliferation of undocumented foreigners working within the industry. On Friday, the 18th of October, 2024, about 300 of its members took to the streets in Durban, specifically marching to the Department of Home Affairs Refugee and Asylum Office situated on Che Guevara Road. This march is emblematic of a growing concern within the sector, where union officials are calling for urgent and sustained governmental intervention to address what they see as a deepening crisis. KZN SACTU Secretary, Nada Sengovenda, made it clear that the union is demanding immediate and regular raids on factories, with the union advocating for these raids to happen at least twice a year. Govenda stressed that random, unannounced inspections must also be part of this solution. This call for action comes amid what the union perceives as a deteriorating situation in which non-compliance with labor laws is rampant, particularly in relation to the employment of undocumented foreigners. In Govenda's words, the industry is struggling with a flood of cheap labor provided by undocumented migrants, a problem that is exacerbating job losses for South African citizens. SACTU's demands extend beyond just the raids. They are also requesting that the Department of Home Affairs appoint a dedicated liaison officer who would focus specifically on the issues surrounding non-compliance. This individual would serve as a direct line of communication for the union, streamlining the process of reporting and addressing violations. Govenda was keen to emphasize that the union stance is not xenophobic. However, the persistent employment of undocumented migrants at the expense of local workers, they argue, must be urgently addressed to prevent further damage to an already fragile labor market. The union's march was conducted under heavy police presence, a reflection of the sensitivity and potential volatility of the issue. The role of law enforcement in managing the protest underscored the potential for tension, as immigration and labor issues remain a deeply divisive topic in South Africa, particularly in the wake of growing unemployment and economic strain. One of Govenda's most critical points was the union's shrinking membership base. SACTU currently counts around 38,000 members in KZN alone, with more than 100,000 members across the country. Despite these numbers, Govenda highlighted the stark reality that the union has been losing members steadily, largely due to job losses and retrenchments. This is particularly concerning for a union in the private sector, where the impact of market forces, and especially the availability of cheap, undocumented labor, is acutely felt. Govenda did not mince words when addressing the core issue. The biggest challenge we have is the use of foreigners for cheap labor. The economic argument here is clear. Employers are hiring undocumented migrants who, because of their precarious legal status, are more willing to accept lower wages and poorer working conditions. This not only puts local workers at a disadvantage but also undermines the broader labor market by driving down wages and eroding the standards that unions like SACTU have fought hard to establish over decades. The issue of unemployment in South Africa is a well-documented crisis, with recent figures from Statistics South Africa showing that the unemployment rate hovers around 33%, one of the highest in the world. In this context, the presence of undocumented migrants in industries like clothing and textiles is seen by many as a threat to the livelihoods of South African citizens. This perception is particularly acute in sectors that are already struggling, with the textile industry being a case in point. The rise of fast fashion, coupled with increasing global competition and cheap imports, has already put immense pressure on South African manufacturers. The addition of undocumented labor into this mix only intensifies these pressures. SACTU's call for regular factory raids and random inspections is not without precedent. In fact, labor unions across various sectors in South Africa have long advocated for stricter enforcement of labor and immigration laws. However, the implementation of such measures has been inconsistent at best. The Department of Home Affairs, which is responsible for immigration enforcement, has been criticized in the past for its slow response to the issue of undocumented migrants, as well as its overall capacity to carry out regular inspections and crackdowns. This has led to a situation where non-compliance has become normalized in many sectors, particularly those that rely on low-skilled labor. The march in Durban is just one example of the growing pressure on the government to take decisive action. As SACTWU members gathered outside the Home Affairs offices, their presence sent a clear message: the time for complacency is over. The union's leadership is adamant that without immediate intervention, the situation will only worsen. The use of undocumented foreigners, they argue, is not just an issue of immigration, it is fundamentally a labor issue that affects the very fabric of South African society. SACTWU's concerns are not limited to the textile sector alone. The broader economic implications of the continued employment of undocumented migrants are profound. With South Africa's unemployment rate already alarmingly high, the influx of undocumented workers into the labor market threatens to exacerbate inequality and social unrest. This is particularly true in urban centers like Durban, where the combination of high unemployment, poverty, and the presence of undocumented migrants creates a volatile mix. The government's response to these demands will be crucial in determining the future of labor relations in the country. If the Department of Home Affairs fails to take decisive action, it risks alienating a key constituency in the form of organized labor. On the other hand, a heavy-handed approach that targets undocumented migrants without addressing the underlying economic issues could lead to further unrest and division. At the heart of SACTWU's demands is a simple but urgent plea: protect South African jobs. Governor's message is clear: without regular inspections, random raids, and stricter enforcement of labor laws, the textile industry will continue to hemorrhage jobs, and the broader economy will suffer. The stakes are high, and the clock is ticking. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates.